Hello everyone, it's Dark here with another video, and in this video I'm going to be talking about what I think are three extremely powerful lessons in story immersion that Final Fantasy XIV has to offer World of Warcraft. And these three lessons are something that are very practical, and I think the World of Warcraft team can incorporate into the game. And before I get into that, I want to thank all of you for all the support, the subscriptions, the comments, and I just enjoy the fact that both communities are coming together and we're producing this content together. So thank you for that. The first lesson I want to talk about that Final Fantasy XIV does really well is that they have dungeons that are fully catered to the main story. And not only that, the main characters also have an active role in them. And this is something I really don't see World of Warcraft doing that much. There are dungeons that are part of the story, like you get quests, but they're not very engaging, and it's more so that you do the quest and you come back and get the reward in the XP. Whereas in Final Fantasy XIV, the dungeon is actually part of the story. And the best way I can show you this is through the example that you see on the screen, where there's this dungeon in the Stormblood expansion, and as part of the story is that you're defending in a battle against the Empire, and in this dungeon you're pretty much engaging the Empire in the defense of the Resistance. And throughout the dungeon, all the main characters in the story kind of have an active role in it, and they join the fight and they have dialogue in it as you're fighting, and mix that with the amazing music that they have for the dungeon. It's just very engaging, very immersive, and it's really fun. It was really fun for me to do, and it wasn't an experience that I've had in World of Warcraft at all. There are instances in raids where World of Warcraft tries to do this, but it's never as part of the main story of leveling and in the dungeons themselves. I feel like the dungeons are mostly catered to Mythic Plus and Endgame, but in Final Fantasy XIV they do a good job of making that as part of the story, and it's extremely engaging. The second point I want to talk about, and the second lesson, is being able to play other main characters in the game. So in Final Fantasy XIV, they give you the opportunity, and this was very new to me. They give you the opportunity of playing the other main characters in the game. So you get to play as, for example, Lord Hien, Y'shtola, and other characters. And that in itself is very engaging as well. You get to experience the game from their perspective. And for example, in the case of Y'shtola that you're seeing on the screen, they're defending you while you're doing an important duel at the same time. And another interesting thing, and I mean this is like a side effect of it, but the way they do it is that, for example, in the case of Y'shtola, she's another class in the game, so I believe it's an Arcanist, and when you actually experience playing the character, you're experiencing the class Arcanist as well. You're kind of getting a feel for the class, even though it's like very limited. There's only 4 abilities. You still get a feeling of, okay, you have a heal ability in your caster, whereas I'm a paladin. As my own class, I get to experience some other class as well. And here's another example where you get to play as Lord Hien, and you get to play as a samurai. And by the way, how similar does this guy look like Yasuo in League, if any of you are League players? Anyway, so you get to play as a samurai, and you have the 4 abilities and the dash, and you kind of get to experience that. And the cool thing about it is, in this case, they're kind of stalling this, think of this guy as the boss or the main villain, and they're kind of stalling until you arrive. And it's just an interesting dynamic that they kind of pull off. And just imagine how cool it would be if in World of Warcraft you could experience playing as Thrall as a shaman, as an enhancement shaman, or as an elite shaman. That part is not so critical. Or if you get to play Jaina, and it's actually, you know, how you have the abilities of a frost mage, an actual frost mage. I think that would be quite engaging, and a lot of people would enjoy it. And it's a simple change, I think, to make. It's not something that just changes the whole dynamic of the game. The last point which I want to make in this video is there are some really cool, amazing 1v1 fights in Final Fantasy XIV in the main quest line. So following the same videos that I was showing you before, where you're actually getting to play Lord Hien until, you know, your own character arrives, you finally arrive and you see, you know, all of them are beaten down, and you arrive and you have to fight the villain 1 versus 1, and it's just a really fun fight. You know, it's not super difficult, but it's not easy as well. You need to dodge a lot of stuff, and it's just a fun dynamic to have. The closest thing WoW has to this was the Mage Towers, and I know a lot of people liked it because it was, you know, it was something that you can go do yourself, and it was extremely challenging. Now I want to say that the Mage Tower is much more harder than the fight that I'm showing you here. But the point is not just the difficulty, it's just the feel of the fight and how engaged you are in the story. It just makes it so much better. And again, all these points are coming from a person who's not too much into like lore and story and everything like that. Even for me, it was very engaging. Like, these 3 aspects of the game just opened my perspective on how important it is to be good at telling a story for a game. Because World of Warcraft has a great story behind it, but I just think they're not doing a good job at telling that story, especially after I played Final Fantasy XIV. It's much more evident to me. And that's why I think it's important to get perspective from both games, because you get to see these big gaps, and only when you see these big gaps can you actually fix them. So with that being said, I want to end this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.